Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. A couple things. I was wanting to be outside to do this video since it would be nice to be outside and I'm talking about movement, but it's so windy here that it would be pretty distracting for us all. My hair would be wrapped around my face. So I didn't plan on having the lovely tangled up thing as usual, but it is what it is. So this video is basically a little, I didn't know I was going to do this last week, but it's a bonus, like video 3 around movement. Because I had some people ask me questions and I got good feedback around, it was really helpful to hear around how we can be compulsive with our movement and how, on the flip side, how hard it can be to get going. We have really good reasons for that. So if you haven't seen those two videos, you need to see those two first so you'll know what I'm talking about today. But I want to do a little bit of a bonus to talk about a question specifically, like, okay, so if I'm feeling pretty compulsive about movement, what do I do about it? And I mentioned some of that in the first one, which is start doing things differently. Start having a plan for the minimum that you need to do and stick with it, or varying your routine and all those different kinds of things, and also work on the ways in which you feel like you'll get validation. So if you remember from the video, I would say, like, for me, I was looking for the feeling of feeling like strong and competent and not having needs and being kind of hard. And I wanted that because of, it was the only way that I knew that I'd seen in my world where you have power. So being female and being feminine and being softer meant having no power and being overly emotional. And I was criticized a lot for being too sensitive and emotional. And it was basically an adaptive way for me to try to fix what I thought was a problem about me. And so it was tied into exercise in that way. I used exercise as a way to be what I thought I needed to be, to really mostly get approval from, honestly, somewhat women, but especially men. And it was definitely tied to my relationship with my dad. So this is deep, deep stuff that when people ask me, well, how do I fix this? I need you to like start journaling, talk to me or somebody else about like, what is the function? Because once I realized that stuff, it was like, oh, yeah, I don't really need to do that to like be okay. And there's ways I can be powerful and competent without literally giving myself shin splints and getting rid of my period and making my cholesterol go up and all the things that overexercise did for me. It didn't make me more powerful. It just made me exhausted and not as healthy. And really lacking in lots of things like relaxation and fun and all those things. But I want to talk about from a nervous system perspective, because I didn't mention those two videos. So I think that's really important for you to understand. When we are in constant like fight or flight, basically when our system doesn't know how to handle even minor stressors without getting really stimulated and getting to like fight or flight, which is gotta go, gotta mobilize, that's gonna mess up your digestion. But also you're gonna feel like this sense, like for me is in my chest, like I could never stop moving. It was somewhat of a heightened height rate all the time, but also just the sense of like, I was really mobilized. I was ready to go like all the time. And exercise was a way I could basically burn off some of that adrenaline. That's why it was so hard when I stopped moving to feel like I wasn't crawling out of my skin. It wasn't just anxiety about like I'm going to gain weight or whatever. And it was some of that, but a lot of it was just this adrenaline that I had from being so activated nervous system wise. And that was the way I operated because of, like many of us you've had like misattunements in our childhood, and attachment things, and I'm not going to talk about what that means today, but you can look it up if you want. And any kind of traumas, whether it's medical trauma or relational trauma or consistent trauma, whatever, we're going to have this heightened way of feeling in our bodies of being like ready to like protect ourselves or to run or to whatever. And I used exercise as a way to kind of get rid of some of that. And so I didn't understand that then, but of course I know that now. And so I want to share that wisdom with you, is that there's going to need to be some ways that you can build capacity and safety in your system so you don't feel that way when you're not exercising, basically. And so on the flip side, one of the reasons I see a lot of people who have, and this happened for me too, is when I was in this really high sympathetic place, I would crash back down occasionally And I've been there more often than the other direction, I would say, in the last 10 years than the way I used to the 10 years before. But being in this more like immobilized, like, blah, I can't get going, nothing sounds fun, I don't know what I want to do, there wasn't much vitality. And a lot of that's being in the, like like being in a good parasympathetic balance is really good, meaning when it helps with like this calmness and this rest and digest. But when you're too low down in there, you just can't really get going. Your digestion is kind of slow, and I notice a lot of, some constipation things, but mostly they're just like blah, malaise, sometimes depression, sometimes not, but just like, I'm not that motivated for anything. And that also happened to me for a period of time with exercise, was like, walking was the most I could do, the most I could muscle up energy. When I say muscle up, like, I couldn't talk myself into being motivated about anything. It just wasn't going to happen. And so that was a place I needed to learn how to juice up my system too, with some of the somatic tools, like that rain stick that I've shown you that my mentor taught me. Not so much meditation, but just ways that you can help feel your body feel more enlivened in a very a more gentle kind of way, which would be, again, I have a finding a safe space in your body meditation on my website as well. It's tracybrownrd.com, and it's under attuned eating and living tools. And even breathing and even body awareness can start to like juice up and wake up our system. So I just want to let you know that like this part 3 about exercise is just like a little side note to it, and kind of a bonus to get you thinking like, I'm trying to motivate myself not to overexercise, or motivate myself mentally to exercise, and it's not working. So I wanted you to know that this may be the ingredient that you didn't know about, was like, what's going on in my nervous system? And do I feel like I can't get going? Do I feel like, kind of blah? And is this, even though like my therapist told me like, oh, exercise helps depression or something, and it does totally. But if you can't get it going consistently, it may not be because you don't care enough or you don't have enough motivation. It could be like you need more waking up in your body, in your system. So, and the opposite for the not going, to feel like you're crawling out of your skin. There's a level like if you can tolerate that and go off exercise and just do that for a while and it feels okay, great. Or you might find that like I need something else to calm me down so I don't feel tripped up by going to overexercise again. So if you have any other questions, I'm just barely skimming the surface, but I wanted to let you know that there could be another piece for you that you didn't know about. So thanks for listening. I really appreciate that. And this is a complex topic that I will be talking about more in the next several months, and I want to break it down for it to be more clear for you what I'm talking about. But just wanted to give a very quick little introduction to that. And if you have any questions, leave in the comments below. I want to hear more about your experiences with this kind of stuff. All right, well, thank you all so much, and we will talk soon. Take care.